And we are back for another interview at the Staking Summit 2025 here in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Joining me now, it's Marin, Head of Protocol Relations from Lido. Thanks for joining us, first of all. It's a pleasure to have Lido represented here. I wasn't fortunate enough to interview you guys the last edition. So yeah, it's really exciting to be doing this now. I guess we will start by introducing Lido. I guess not a lot of introduction is necessary, but for the few people that might not know you, can you give us a quick rundown of what you guys do?
Sure. Thank you for this opportunity. It's really great to be here. So Lido, can you hear me? Robert? No? Should I come a bit closer?
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
So Lido is biggest liquid staking protocol on Ethereum. It's fundamental for general DeFi, but it's also one of the best softwares out there that enable people to stake while maintaining maintaining liquidity, right? Because if you stake it natively, you lose this option of being liquid, and you need to wait to withdraw from the validators.
Yep.
But with Lido, you have option to do it quickly by trading out, but you have also options to earn additional yields by not only being staked and supporting the Ethereum network, but also participating in open DeFi.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Yep. Good rundown. And well, speaking of DeFi, recently I saw that you guys are offering this new product, Lido Earn. Maybe you can explain a little bit of what your strategy is there and where you plan to go moving forward.
Sure. Okay, so it's a next step, I think, for a lot of Onchain protocols. We are shifting from being plain front ends, right, to servicing various type of users. So essentially what Lido DAO achieves here is contributing that protocol satisfies multiple user segments. There's a huge demand for earned products, which in a safe as possible manner give you exposure to DeFi, for example, with this Lido Earn vaults. Meanwhile, you don't have to know anything about it. Underneath these vaults, there are professional curators. Like currently we have two. One is Veda, one is Mellow. Respectively, they both use their own infrastructure, but they are present on Lido frontend. But for you as a user, what this enables is participate in DeFi with one-click solutions, which are industry standard. And it removes a huge skill gap that a regular user would need to know to participate. So you can say it's easier and more secure way for users to interact with DeFi.
Okay, so it's essentially instead of if you do like a parallel, instead of buying stock, you're buying an ETF, so to speak, that someone else is curating for you, right? Someone else is.
One way to look at it, not per se, because these things are not regulated in same fashion.
Yeah.
You do get the token representation of your deposit into the vault, right? And the value of that share rises as the vault generates yield. Then you withdraw more of the native asset out, right? But if you're doing it as brokerage for ETFs, that's a completely different segment. I guess we can touch with
No.
separate.
No. I didn't mean like that. Just in the sense that you're not selecting which strategy to choose. You're putting it in a vault, and the curators select those strategies for you.
Correct.
Optimizing for yield.
Correct. Right. So essentially, the contracts as infrastructure enable you connections to Aave, to Euler, to Morpho, then to some more kind of advanced strategies, let's say Fluid with their Light Vault. So you get stacking and generating returns, but it can also lead to pre-deposit vaults of different L2s that are launching.
Okay.
It can also be a strategy itself that's embedded into like a delta neutral strategy that's embedded with the code, and then curator decides how to allocate the vault assets to maximize the returns for the users.
Okay, so I guess I think the remaining question is the curator itself has to be like a very trustworthy third party, so to speak, in this case, right now.
Yes, we are very proud to have Veda and Mello curating for us here. Essentially, Veda pioneered the Vault on chain, and they are really strong in this segment. And also Mello, which is very innovative with their solutions, and we can say they're crypto OGs. So in terms of DeFi, it's a really strong position to be in.
Yeah, perfect. Amazing, amazing. Let's change gears a little bit. So we're talking about DeFi, so mostly the degen side of crypto, so to speak. But I've also read that there is some buzz around Vanek filing for a STGEAT ETF. Can you give us a little bit of a briefing on that?
I mean, it's definitely a buzz. Institutional contributors of Lido done a great job. This was a strong confirmation that STETH itself is an institutional asset. Contributors fought to prove this for years, but like now it's really tangible, and it made a shift for the STETH as an asset in general because it opened a lot of doors. A lot of conversations got restarted, so it's a really turning point, and I think for STETH itself as an asset, which should be adopted by every major institution in the short-term future, I say.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we've gone through ETF for Bitcoin being yes or no for so long, and now it's Bitcoin, Ethereum already has one, and now we're speaking of even Stake ETH having its own ETF. It's
But I think like what's important to understand here with the specific ETF on STETH, STETH it's staked, right? The whole asset underlying of the asset is staked, so it generates returns. Meanwhile, with regular ETH ETF, not 100% of it is staked because it requires liquidity for withdrawals and service exits, right? With STETH being a flagship of DeFi and being the most liquid, most robust asset, you essentially have luxury of having 100% of assets staked, and you have redemptions is through STETH's liquidity.
yeah. I have to wait like 45 days. Yeah, sure. No, great stuff. Appreciate all of this insight. Really interesting. So we've been doing this with all our interviews, is ending like on a broader question to get a little bit of an insight from industry leaders like Lido. How do you feel that the crypto or the staking industry is evolving, and where do you think it's going in the next future, like 1 year?
So I'll say this in my personal opinion. Like my opinion doesn't represent Lido DAO, obviously, especially because it's a bit spicy on this. As I think staking is fundamental of DeFi. A lot of strong products are built on top, and I think it in current form and where it's heading is not as good. You have a situation where emissions natively are reduced. Speaking for it specifically,
Yeah.
and it puts a lot of strain on DeFi safety. Why? Because alternatives to generate yield are then mostly left to the lending markets and then doing abstract strategies, which result in much more risk to get the fundamental yield. And then imagine like that results into new wrappings of this type of assets that yield. Then you wrap them to represent something new.
Yeah.
It it's at a crossroads. I'm quite happy that the Ethereum researchers kind of toned down the initiative to change the issuance to keep as is, because this gives us opportunity to do deeper researches and work harder towards finding a compromise. As I think like without staking on Ethereum, there will be no DeFi. And I think Ethereum is DeFi. Like I'm very openly saying this. You have various chains launching Ethereum killer every time, right? None of them has the same community. So the development force is not as strong. Commercial and business sides are not strong as, and they all peak with a lot of value of the asset, right? They have high emissions, but then when they go down 99%, is it worth it? No.
Yeah.
But Ethereum is in a position where uh, it's already institutional grade. Like you've seen this last wave, it's not retail. With what we had with the bull ride, it was purely run by institution.
Yeah.
So I don't expect large swings as before with Ethereum as an asset and on Ethereum, but I think now it became DeFi. And to maintain there, it requires emissions and a staking yield.
Yeah, of course. That's of course. But you mentioned something curious. That's that Ethereum is king or is on top because of community. So do you think it's only like the first mover advantage and community, or is there also a tech side that is really strong and above most of what everyone else is?
I'll just say that anything hyped and relevant that gets produced, it's an EVM.
EVM for sure.
So I think that answers the question, like technological superiority. And we had a situation like, let's go back just a little bit with Polkadot.
You know?
It came forward with a solution where Ethereum was lagging. Ethereum is now in front of Polkadot,
Like,
right? So I think it took this number one position as
Ethereum behind.
I would think Ethereum community is in a
yes.
position to overtake Bitcoin community, right? It is a spicy take,
Yeah.
but
For sure.
the flippening might happen because
Sooner and then we'll think.
yes,
All right. All right. Yeah, very spicy and interesting take. I appreciate that. Again, I'd like to thank you for joining us, Marin. And I don't know if you have any final comments that you wish to say to either the Lido supporters or anyone that might be watching.
in general, like we are going through very turbulent times. Some market events that were not easy to anticipate, and then a couple of uh, issues with all contracts, not Lido related, but it affects the whole DeFi community, right? So at times like this, it's best to stake. That's my message.
Stake and forget.
Yes.
All right. Thanks a lot, Marin. And see you guys soon.